Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying today submitted a report on political reform to the National People's Congress Standing Committee, kickstarting the process toward universal suffrage. The report says there's a need to change the way the chief executive is chosen in 2017. And Leung insisted civic nomination has not been ruled out. But the CE says there's no need to change the basic law when it comes to the 2016 LegCo election. Evelina Leung has more.
The five-step process of Hong Kong's constitutional reform began today. Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying's report was submitted to the National People's Congress Standing Committee in Beijing. Here in Hong Kong, Leung outlined his report on the road towards universal suffrage. Chief Secretary for Administration Carrie Lam also unveiled a report on the first stage of public consultation. The CE's report points out that Hong Kong is generally eager to see the implementation of universal suffrage in the 2017 chief executive election. The discussion should be made in accordance with the Basic Law and the relevant interpretation and decisions of the NPC Standing Committee. It also says the community generally agrees that the chief executive is someone who loves the country and loves Hong Kong. Some did suggest that CE candidates should be nominated through civic nomination and party nomination. But the mainstream opinion is that the Basic Law has clearly stipulated that only the nominating committee has the power to nominate CE candidates. There are also suggestions to increase the size of the nominating committee to a maximum of 1,600, up from 1,200 in the election committee in 2012. Yet there are also views that the size of the nominating committee should remain the same. And society generally agrees the successful implementation of universal suffrage in the 2017 election is a precondition for future LegCo elections by universal suffrage. But it's generally agreed that there is no need to amend the Basic Law regarding the method of forming the council in 2016. The chief executive denied a civic nomination in the 2017 CE election has been ruled out, insisting no decision has been made at this stage.
We haven't ruled out anything in the two reports. While we have views about whether civic nomination is in compliance with the provision of the Basic Law, we do not make choices in this exercise.
Evelina Leung, TVB News.
Chief Secretary Carrie Lam today briefed lawmakers about the government's report on the constitutional reform public consultation and the CE's report to the NPC Standing Committee. But despite having recognized that some in Hong Kong want direct popular nomination of CE candidates, there are still divisions on this issue. Joel De Silva reports.
A nod of recognition to the pan-democratic camp as Carrie Lam briefed legislators on the content of the two reports.
It is worth noting that after the consultation period, there were still considerable views as expressed through participation in polling activities held by civic organizations and the July 1st rally that the element of civic nomination should be included.
She added that those views will be conveyed to Beijing, but radical pan-democrats were not buying it. Leung Kwok-heung was kicked out of the meeting after he threw a prop birdcage and a hammer at the chief secretary. He was followed by Albert Chan, who expressed his discontent by tearing up the consultation report.
For Carrie Lam, he ignored the opinion of the civic nomination, which is supported by the majority of the Hong Kong citizens. It was quite clear, the majority view of the Hong Kong people, they do not want any screening, of the candidacy. But this report didn't show that. So it is quite clear this is a fake one.
Inside, pro-establishment legislators expressed their support for the report.
Over 5 months you have conducted there were over 500 consultation sessions, so I think you've taken on board the views from different sectors. So I would say it's a rather complete picture.
Speaking after the meeting, Labour Party lawmakers were particularly disappointed at hints that the introduction of universal suffrage for all LegCo seats will have to wait until after 2017.
It is outrageous that the report distorts
public opinion. It's common knowledge, I would say, a very much a consensus among the people of Hong Kong that we should abolish functional constituency.
Lee added, however, that the reports do not completely shut the door on civic nomination, which he says is a victory achieved by the Occupy Central poll and the July 1st rally. His hopes were echoed by students and human rights activists.
After the 1st of July rally and also the civil referendum, you can see that their attitude become quite moderate, and they didn't want to kill the civil nomination directly. So we believe that direct actions of the citizens can change our fate.
Even though this is only the first stage in the 5 steps towards universal suffrage, tensions continue to run high, not least because the reports insist that the power to nominate candidates is vested only in the nominating committee and that future chief executives must love the country and love Hong Kong. João da Silva, TVB News.